Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah.
Hi there. I am not Joe Don McKeel, and neither are you. So, no, Joe's off at a convention this weekend, so we're going to be doing tonight's shows and Saturday night shows. Sends Joe Dog, and we will try and muddle through as best we can. And here in as my enablers is John Scarborough and Bill.
I'm not Joe Dog McKeel either.
And Rich. Yeah, nobody here is Joe Dog, so stop sending complaints, okay?
And y'all
If you
better
want Joe
behave,
Dog, go to the Joe Dog
behave,
channel.
or I'm going to make one of you be Joe Dog.
Yeah. I'll
Don't
turn
Although
this
you never
show
know, there
around.
might be 3 Joe Dogs in a trench coat.
Joe Mama.
Don't make me turn the show around.
No, Rich, with your size, it'd have to be 5 Joe Dogs in a trench coat.
I'll be Joe Mama, dog.
Bill, you might want to rethink that one a little teeny tiny bit, just a hair. All right, and okay, it's 4:20. SpaceX threw the rocket in the air, and it did not totally fail. It did not totally succeed either.
It left the pad.
Zach might be here later to tell us exactly what happened.
I just sent him the link on Discord. So.
Okay, so we're doing good. We're doing good. Um, now
It went boom boom.
it
Who
is not.
who
It is not Friday night. It is Thursday night. So this point has to be made when I'm in charge of things. Um, all right. As much as I would like it to be, because it is one of my favorite nights of the week. So,
the red
ah,
green room?
This week I really need a green.
So
oh,
who
and
brought
you're going to
who
be
brought
busy tomorrow
the
night. You said
No, Saturday.
Saturday. Yes. Okay.
who
Uh,
brought the who brought the video clip of Ernest P. Worrell, Jim Varney going, I came, I saw, I got blowed up. Because that's well, not the first thing I thought of when I saw what happened today with the rocket. The first thing I thought of was something pretty sad, which was the Challenger
Well, yes,
space shuttle.
Well,
I can see the parallels. I can see the parallels, but
this one
they
went
pretty
slowly on
much
purpose.
expected that this was not going to be 100% success. They wanted it to get off the pad, up in the air, and they hoped they would get separation.
Yeah.
They did not get separation. So two
Well,
Anything
thirds.
past leaving the pad,
they
they were happy.
they
Did
got
you say
separation in about 20,000 different pieces.
No, 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 no. Rapid unexpected disassembly does not count as separation.
they
Um,
Joe Dog put this video up earlier where the guy was going point by point of everything that went wrong, and they've got this picture of what happened to the launch site after the rocket took off. It, they're going to be months rebuilding this stuff. I mean, it's.
hey,
I mean,
um,
it damaged infrastructure.
I
well,
watched 5 or 6 different news channels of people talking about this and trying to make a silk purse out of a sow's ear about what happened, because the eventuality of all this is that this is going to have people on it, and this is what's going to take them to the moon and wherever else in the way far out future.
But even in the early, Apollo and Saturn missions and stuff like that, there was catastrophic failure.
Yeah.
There was damage to
Oh,
infrastructure.
yeah.
NASA did the
Yeah.
same
yeah,
thing.
So it's not really
really,
a mess. It's
not only us, but the Russians lost
they
people
have
right and left
3
when they
minutes
Mhm.
and
thought things were
change.
going to be right. And
Yeah.
Elon's going, "Hey, um, we ain't put nobody on that yet." Boom.
There is
That's
a
why.
And thankfully we're in an age where we can do stuff like that. But they've got 3 minutes and change of data of what went good, what went wrong, stuff like that, to help ensure future missions don't have that bad of an issue.
yes.
Plus, now they see exactly what the hell would happen to the launch site, so they can build a better launch site too.
Every
Hey,
every manned rocket that NASA has ever put up, okay, when they were testing it, same problems. Every one of them. The Atlas that put the Mercury up, they had problems with those left, right, and center, and this was back in the 50s.
well,
They
it's not just NASA; it's everybody.
everybody, and they only
Until you
just
learn to put up an empty box, you can't send up a full one.
they
Right.
blew up dozen of those Atlas missiles to get them right. Okay. And they only just retired the Atlas as a launch vehicle last month. It's been going for the last 70 years.
They were
Oh,
they
Don's here. It's time to
retired.
go. Bye. No.
Good Lord, that's older than a B-50. No, it's not older than a B-52 bomber.
About
Just
the same age.
about
About the same age.
about the same age. Gee. Um. Oh, there was somebody talking. I accidentally stumbled into one of those. Should the A-10 Warthog be retired? And I go, we're still flying B-52s that were made in 1960. If it's still working until you come up with something better, keep it running.
It's a bomb truck. It's not like it has, it's not a jet fighter where they have to go toe to toe and tooth to tooth.
It's a gun with an airplane built around it that can also tote bombs.
Yeah. Oh no. Well, the A-10 is a attack plane. And attack planes usually only go in.
And the B-52 is a dump truck.
It's a dump truck.
It's a damn good dump truck. It goes someplace, it drops off a load, it comes back.
They've had variations of the F-15 out since the 1970s. Okay. And it's still one of the mainstay fighters for the U.S. military and several other U.S. militaries. And they're just now getting a new version of it, a brand new version. Okay. The F-15EX, okay, which is really, there's a lot of cool technology in this thing too. But everyone says, how can you expect it to keep up with stealth fighters? And they're like, well, it's not supposed to. It's a missile truck. It goes up, starts shooting missiles, and hey, dodge this. It's kind of like that guy in dodgeball with a really good arm.
Well, the thing is,
okay. Ryan, you got to agree to let Bill get a word in edgewise.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, sorry.
Or at least sidewise.
Yeah. Well, happy Throwback Thursday, fellas. It's good to see you all. I took your advice. I did my homework. I haven't read the books yet, but I did find the Han Solo trilogy written by A.C. Crispin at a bookstore here in the great state of North Carolina. God bless this state. My God. McKay's Bookstore is heaven on earth. If you have not visited yet, get yourself down here. Use ludicrous speed if you have to here, Danny boy, because this store is lit.
A.C. Crispin?
Yes. That's the name of the writer, isn't it?
Brian Daly.
Trilogy?
Brian Daly.
Oh, Brian Daly. That trilogy?
Yeah.
Oh,
okay, so there's I was not aware of the A.C. Crispin. I'll have to look through that. Thank you for the knowledge.
Yeah, because I don't mean to burst your bubble here, but when I went on this lovely thing called the interwebs, there was this list of Star Wars books that I should read, and the Han Solo trilogy that they were discussing was the Han Solo trilogy written by A.C. Crispin. So I went ahead and bought that. If you were talking about the Brian Daly trilogy, they do have that at both locations. So hypothetically, I could go back there tomorrow and get the trilogy because they actually have it as one giant.
Don't overstretch your budget. It's worth waiting for.
Okay.
Make sure you can spare it.
That's true. He's
Brian
right.
Daly, L. Neil Smith.
Yes.
Their Star Wars trilogies, the tie-ins, are well worth the money. And thank you for letting me know that A.C. Crispin had one in there. I respect A.C. Crispin, so I'm going to go see what I can get.
Yeah, I have it. It's right here on my bookshelf. It looks lovely. I got a great shelf now just full of Star Wars books because some of them were suggested by the interwebs. Some of them were suggested by you kind people. So I did my homework. I did something right for a change. But other than that, I'm happy to be here. You guys look all fabulous. John's beard is growing 6 feet longer. Bill Sarton said he had a surprise for us.
He's been trimming it.
I know. But Bill Sarton said he had a surprise for us this week. I'm just curious, Bill, what is that surprise?
He's got decent internet.
Oh, is that
well,
it?
That's one.
He bought real
That's
internet.
one surprise.
That's one.
Okay. Do you want me to show you before I show the surprise?
Go ahead.
I got to ask you, Ryan.
Yes.
I told you that I got the Last Ronin hardcover.
Yes. You
which is issues 1 through 5, I think, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
How many issues are there altogether, or is that a continuing storyline still?
Well, from what I read from the executives known as the interwebs for comic book expertise, they are going to continue the Last Ronin, so it's not going anywhere. They're going to continue it for another 6 issues, maybe more, because the graphic novel, the hardcover that you and I both have, I believe it's the first 5, if not first 6 issues. So.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And it's really good. It's great. If you're a TMNT fan in any way, shape, or form, whether you grew up on the movies like I did, or you grew up on the OG property of the 80s written by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, then please read The Last Ronin because it was named like the best new comic book of last year or the year before when it came out originally. So Well done, guys. Well done. Because when I meet Kevin Eastman, I'm going to have him sign my hardcover.
Ooh, wow.
That's going to happen. And also, I have issue number 1 in a bag and board, so I'm going to get him to sign that, and then I'm going to get it graded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have, and that's what I grew up on. To me, I told somebody, I can't remember what it was, the Leonardo drawing that I did a while back, and then I went ahead and put it on again here a week or so ago. And somebody commented and said, I am so happy that your Leonardo has a red mask and not a blue one.
Mm-hmm.
Red bandana.
Yes.
And I said, yes, I grew up on, they all wore red. Wear red or go dead or whatever. I don't know what it would be, but anyway, I haven't read The Last Ronin yet.
Okay.
I'm rereading 1985's Crisis on Infinite Earths, which I do have the original 12 issues that I bought brand new back then.
Well done.
That's when I was getting, I think issue 2 or 3 was out when I got back into comics.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, I jumped at getting the other ones because everybody's saying this is going to change the world. You better get the other issues and blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, the very next year, I had to do everything all over and make sure that I didn't miss out on Dark Knight Returns.
Ooh, Frank Miller.
Ooh, yeah.
Frank Miller, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was a huge influence on comics and the industry moving forward, too. That was a huge influence.
That's one of the few graphic novels I've got left after my first wife went through her we're divorced now, I'm going to steal everything you've got stage.
That's unfortunate, but at least you still have that.
Hey, I had things that were hidden. That was among the hidden.
Original issues.
I'm glad you hit them though.
No, it was the one book graphic novel.
Yeah. Okay.
That was the trade. Yeah, which I don't have. I don't have Dark Knight Returns, but I do have the Crisis on Infinite Earths paperback. And by the way, I'm 45 plus years late to this party of Crisis on Infinite Earths, but I finally read it several months ago, long before I got this new gig and moved down here. It's a good story, and I didn't get confused at all. Like, I was able to actually follow this story, despite the fact that it takes place on multiple Earths with different iterations of the characters. I'm like, you know what? For a book that's this big, I wasn't lost. I could follow it very well.
Yes, but how long did it take you to pick your jaw back up off the ground and turn the next page? There were a couple of moments like that for me where I go,
I would say,
holy.
I mean, I don't know, maybe a good 60, maybe 120 seconds, so 2 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, seriously.
Because
you had to
stop and
appreciate you had to stop and appreciate the chutzpah of them actually going, yeah, we're going to do this.
But I will say this though, I knew this was coming, but when I read it within its graphic novel form, by the way, spoilers for something that's been out for 45 plus years, the death of Supergirl, that hit me. Because I'm like, man, like I knew it was coming, but when you read it for the first time, it's like, oh, devastating. I was so miffed. I was like, I understood why she did it, but at the same time, it's like, it's Supergirl. Like, she had a bright future ahead of her, but she made the sacrifice. It's crazy. But by the way, great artwork by the creative team over there. What was it? George Perez, I believe.
George Perez. Yeah. Mike DiCarlo was another one.
Who was the other one? Yep. DiCarlo, and who was the other one?
It was a large
huge team, but there were two
Mike
names.
Magnolia. There was Joe Orlando had a part in it.
All of it was great.
There was a bunch. It's
a great story. If no one has ever read, if you want to learn your comic book history, read Crisis on Infinite Earths, because that is one of the better like crossovers ever.
I remember buying Batman and a few others at the time before I started reading Crisis.
That's right.
And they had advertisements in every frickin' comic book for months and months and months before it even started. And when you look at it and it says worlds will live, worlds will die, the universe will never be the same. And I'm like, what the hell are they talking about? You know, surely they can't be doing anything that drastic, but,
They did.
you know,
By the way,
yeah,
the other name I was
well,
thinking
you know,
of,
they
the other name I was thinking of that I couldn't think of before was Marv Wolfman.
Marv
Oh,
Wolfman.
yes, yes,
Yep.
Marv
Marv
Wolfman.
Wolfman and George Perez were
Uh-huh.
the two big names featured on the paperback that I have in my possession. So good stuff. It's unfortunate that we lost George Perez somewhat recently. So
Well,
Yeah,
it's
a couple
unfortunate
months
we
ago.
lost all of them
yeah, they're
that
pretty
we've
much all
lost.
gone,
I mean,
right?
seriously.
Well, Mike
But,
DiCarlo's still around.
Well, Mike DiCarlo is
Uh,
still with us? Okay, cool.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's a friend of mine on Facebook, and he
Really?
recently moved.
Oh,
Uh,
y'all have reminded me of something. I'm very sorry to interrupt, but I
Hey,
don't
good.
know you. Both of you,
I read it.
Bill and Ryan, probably already have this, but it is
Which one?
Ron Goulart's comic book encyclopedia.
No, I don't have this. I never even heard of this.
I don't know that that is the exact title of it, but it is a coffee table book.
Okay.
It is an encyclopedia of comic books. It is by Ron Goulart.
Is that on Amazon?
I don't have the faintest idea. They sent it
Someone-
to me for a review. His publisher
Probably.
sent it to me for free for a review, and I'm
Alright.
going. It's got Ron Goulart's name on it. Of course, it's worth buying.
Oh gosh, man! If that's on Amazon or if it appears somewhere in some store, I can end up buying it. Who knows?
yeah,
Hey,
probably
it'll be an antique
Barnes
by
and
now.
Noble.
It'll be an antique.
It'll
by
be
now
in Barnes
because-
and Noble, like Carl is saying in the chat right now about he's not spending any money at Barnes and Noble, and neither is who was the other one? Dawn Dulas said she wasn't spending any money in the bookstore. Good for you, Dawn. You don't spend any money in a bookstore, whereas I've been spending lots of money recently. But the good news is it's store credit, not actual money.
Well, Ryan,
I spend too much money
Dawn
in a
wants to
bookstore.
pay her rent and buy groceries.
Same
So
here. I want to
she's
do the
not-
same thing.
She's not spending extra money at a bookstore. She will spend very, very
How much?
well thought out,
Oops.
shall we
Yeah.
say, stuff that is
Spare change.
spared from bills.
Yeah, spare
And,
change.
yeah, well, I'm in that category. Well, spare change. I got to buy a water heater. I'm using spare change for that.
Spare
I'm
change.
having to disassemble the couch looking for change.
What was Dawn saying? Oh, Dawn said she was in there for 2 hours. Wow. 2 hours in a bookstore and you didn't buy one thing. Okay.
Last time I was in there in a Barnes and Noble for 2 hours, they charged me rent.
Really?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a $500 a month payment.
Is there a Barnes and Noble near where I live? I should look that up the next time I'm on Google. Probably is. I could probably go there and see if they have anything.
There's a
Of
lot
course,
of college
they made
kids
me
in
autograph
Champaign
about 24 books,
hang out
but
there.
Maybe I
Yeah,
should go
I'll-
there.
Gotta
Maybe I should go to
charge
Barnes
them
and
that.
Noble tomorrow and find some more Star Wars stuff. I don't know.
Hey, if I go to Barnes and Noble and spending money lately, it'll be spending money on vinyl albums.
Yes.
I mean, to tell you, oh my God. And they have probably, out of all the stores that are selling vinyl now, Walmart, Target, everywhere,
Yes.
Barnes and Nobles has the biggest selection and their prices are decent. I mean, sales aside, just the regular retail prices are really decent.
Well, that's good to know.
Well,
Well, look at the bright side, Bill. You got some good reading ahead of you with The Last Ronin.
I can't wait. I've been so busy with a lot of things, and I'm going to continue to be busy. But I guess while we're talking a little bit about vinyl, I probably ought to just go ahead and do my show and tell. It would be a great segue. I received something in the mail by quite surprise. I am forbidden to say who sent it to me. She sent me a message asking me if I got it, and I said yes. And she said, this is from, I'll just say her brother. And anyway, she said, please don't mention my name because then other people will be saying, "Hey, can you get me one?" Blah 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 blah.
Mhm.
And I can't even tell you the reason why she sent it to me, because then that would kind of send it. That would give it away too. But here's what I received a couple days ago.
Oh,
Oh,
monkey's drum head.
Signed by Mickey Dolan. This is a drum head of the Monkees.
Okay.
He even wrote, "Hey,
now
we're
you
the
got to buy the rest
Monkees"
of
at
the
the
drum
top.
kit.
Yeah, and there's the official sticker from whatever his company, and it's got his. I don't know if you can tell on here or not. It's got his name and that shows that comes officially from
him.
Mickey.
Yeah.
But then also
Um,
she sent me.
Bill, excuse me. Sidetrack.
Yeah.
Just. I hate to interrupt, but which manufacturer made the drum head?
Remo.
It says Remo
Yeah.
autograph head.
Mm.
Okay.
Now
Okay. So that's a special thing. I thought it was one of the other. It might have been one of the other names that are more well known for drum heads, but that does not matter one way or the other. It is an autographed one of a kind or several of a kind, but you've got that one.
Yeah, and this is. She sent this. It's a copy, but she's saying this is my CIA or COA, and that's him.
Certificate of authenticity.
Yeah, that's him actually signing my drum head, and that's my drum head right there in that same picture. What I understand, because I did not recognize the Remo or Remo. I don't even know how to pronounce it correctly.
I would pronounce it Remo just because I'm a fan of the Remo Williams movie.
Okay, well,
I was thinking
anyway,
the same thing.
I knew at one time Mickey played Premier drum kit, and I'm trying to think of what else. But anyway, the way this person informed me is that the Remo makes specifically and solely drum heads that will be used by, say, if you were getting an autographed drum head from Peter Criss from Kiss, or people of that nature.
They make drum heads that aren't expected to actually be used. They're expected to be autographed.
And I used to play the drums a long time ago. This is a real drum head. I mean, I can tell it's not a bass drum head.
No,
it's too small for a bass drum, but
it's a snare. Yeah.
But and that's the other thing, because I do have, well, because of my best friend Laura sent me the Peter Tork's autograph, the Monkey Mobile, with his autograph on it, just before he died. And then also about a year before he died, my friend Joanna Nesmith sent me, Jessica Nesmith sent me the CD that Mike, her father, had out at the time, which was all of the solo recordings from the First National Band era, like during the 70s and early 80s, all his solo stuff, and a few Monkees stuff thrown in there. But and that one, he actually signed that to me with my name on it. And
if I may interrupt, Bill, Ryan, I understand your time with us is limited.
Unfortunately, yeah, because there's this other thing called Another Show that I want to tune in for and say hi to some good friends of mine, including Rob Molteri of LoneWolfComics.com. And Dawn just brought up her name too. Carissa's going to be on that show too. So it seems like Dawn and I are thinking the same strange pseudo wavelength. I don't know, but it's nothing personal, Dan. It's just
I
business.
know.
It's nothing personal. It's like, look,
It's
I can
not
hang with
my damn show.
I can hang with you guys all night
It's
long.
not my planet, monkey boy.
It's true. And by the way, Bill, nothing against you or anything, but the monkeys are a little before some of our times. But that's cool that you got all the autographs. I am happy for you. You got dreams coming true every which way. So well done.
He solely must be talking about himself, because I think everybody else here is old enough to remember.
No,
Glenn Miller's not before my time, son.
No, but I'm just saying, you know.
Now, Ryan,
Hey,
Ryan, look, now back in the 80s during 1986, Monkeys made that big comeback thanks to MTV, and they had that whole Monkeys weekend and all that. You should have remembered that at least.
Sorry,
Well, he was only 12.
I'm sorry to tell you this, and Dan, this is going to shock you even more, but I wasn't born until '87 here, Bill.
Oh, okay.
I missed a lot of the MTV generation because I wasn't born until the late '80s.
In the 90s, they did the new Monkeys. They actually rebooted with a new set of kids.
Wow.
That
I ignored that. And,
I wasn't aware of it, Rich.
I
that's
think it maybe went 2 months.
No. I'm
Ryan,
sure whoever it was,
yourself
they
blessed.
tried really well, but
You did not see the new monkeys. You are blessed.
Well,
You know, I'll just stick to listening
Henneman says you do not exist.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I'll just stick to listening to the OG music of the Monkees. So
That's the best. That is the best thing.
Yeah. But I am happy for Bill and his the autographs he's been blessed with, and obviously you buying The Last Ronin, and you're going back and rereading Crisis on Infinite Earths, which is fantastic to read. But on the flip side, guys, I am going to jet out of here. But I want to say it was great to see each and every single one of you. And for those of you who are watching this show in the comfort of your own home, Carl, great to see you. Everyone in the chat, you all look lovely. You don't look a day over 25. Rest of this weekend, I'm going to get back to my Star Wars reading.
225, maybe.
Whatever.
I think he meant 25 decades.
Hey, listen, I'm just trying to
I'm
be
working
nice.
on that.
I'm trying to be nice, and I'm trying to do everyone here a favor. But
That
anyway,
is nice.
it was great to see you. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM5. Check out by the way, our YouTube channel just hit 800 subscribers this week, so I am happy about that. We are celebrating that. This week we got a great trio of shows for you on Friday with Heather E. Hutzel, who's an indie writer who's going to be on with us. Hey, what's up? Yeah, he's happy for us too. And on Saturday, Timothy B. Fling is going to be on the show with us. And then on Sunday, we're going to do a review of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always that dropped this week on Netflix. Boy, is that going to be a heck of a discussion. But in the meantime, stay healthy, stay strong, stay safe. And remember, Dan.
Ryan, one last thing before you go.
Yes.
Thank you for your restraint.
No, you're welcome. I know. I have no restraint. I'm a horrible.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
That's what I am.
You will
Last question.
do the
for you, Ryan.
thing
How's
when
the
it is
job?
asked of you, and I appreciate it. I really do. Now,
Speed
go
kills.
off and be awesome.
No, what is John going to say? John was going to tell me something before I jetted
Yes,
out of here.
how's the job search going?
It's going. I had a phone interview today that went well, and then I reached out to the minor league ballpark here in Greensboro. Go Grasshoppers! And they said that they have taken my application and passed it on to the assistant to the general manager. So they are going to go through applications for because other people have applied, not just myself. But they're going to go through the rigmarole, and then they said they get back to me about another week and a half or so. Because right now they're in the middle of a homestead at the ballpark, and then they got another one next week. After that, they're going to get back to me. So. It's going okay. It's going the best as I can. But listen, look at all the books I have to read here, John. I am flooded with Star Wars.
Ryan, have you ever thought about putting in applications at some of the radio stations? Because you're a natural for that. I mean, you have the gift of gab. You can entertain people endlessly.
Endlessly, yeah. I've looked into it. I have looked at the local stations here, specifically just to catch everyone up on the Cliff Notes, Greensboro, and the only position they have available at the moment here, Dan, is account executive, stuff like that. And I'm just I'm not an account executive. I don't like numbers.
No. You would definitely have to be an on-air voice.
Oh, I would
Hopefully
love to.
not
I would love to be an on-air personality. I mean, they could take. I can entertain people for hours on end, basically.
Yeah, that was my point. As long as you don't
Dan?
get stuck on country music or something, which you
Dan?
may not be as comfortable with as
No.
other genres of
I can't
the musical arena.
I can't stand to listen to Big and Rich and who's the other guy from?
Big and Rich is okay. I mean,
Yeah, you're fine.
I'm a
Who's that other guy again? Garth Brooks. I can't stand to listen to Garth Brooks for 8 hours.
well,
a day.
maybe 3 or 4 of his stuff, but
Garth
I
Brooks.
like his first
Big and
2
Rich
albums.
has got a sense of humor.
He does.
Um,
He does. I don't know. But anyway, the job search is going as best as it can, John.
All right.
Good,
cool.
good. Best of luck, and
Thank you. It was great to see everybody. And hey, look, Joe gets to
Thank you
take
for
my
dropping
spot
in.
here on the bridge of the Enterprise. So, Joe, welcome to the Enterprise. I'm going to beam myself out of here. I'm going to check out my other friend's show. But in the meantime, stay healthy, stay strong, stay safe. And remember, in the words of Star Wars, this is the way. Okay? I'll see you guys.
Have a good night, Ryan.
Later,
Have a good one, guys. Always good to see you. I'll catch you on the flip side.
Somehow, I think the stream.
Hey, Joe. How you doing?
Doing good. So just staying in my wood.
Hey, Joe. What you burning with that gun in your hand? Oh, no.
Pretty stuff.
It looks like he's erasing.
No, he's buffing.
He was buffing his wood.
We've learned to acknowledge that without acknowledging it. Just roll with it, Bill. Roll with it. It's all right. It's not dirty. It's okay.
No, he's literally buffing wood. Okay?
Not saying a word.
That's what the kids are calling it today.
That'll be a first. Sorry, Bill. Don't mean to pick on you, but you left that door wide open, and I just kicked it in. I wish I was not that way, but I had to restrain myself this week at an OSHA meeting. My immediate supervisor thanked me for not being my natural-born smartass, and I've been trying to recover ever since that repressed incident.
They had a really big OSHA briefing today, and Dan. That's why Dan's so surly. Okay.
No, it was yesterday.
Oh, was it?
I'm not surly. I'm volcanic, is what it is. I was repressed yesterday. I am trying not to be today, but I'm also trying not to be rude. As weird as that may seem to anybody that knows me, for me not to be rude.
But Dan, there's a time to be rude. Rude, crude, and obnoxious. Some people deserve it.
Let's not get political. Okay.
Oh, it's not political. Not in the least bit. It's more on a personal level, and that I stopped being allowed to go to OSHA meetings because, well, we didn't call them OSHA meetings, although they were involved. I'm trying to think of what they were called. This was back when I worked at Lowe's Home Improvement, and we'd have these monthly meetings. Carl? And,
what are you? Hey! I have not been anywhere near as caustic or reactionary as I can be. I'm trying to be polite. I mean, seriously, Bill's got good internet tonight. I'm letting him get through with a sentence.
All these, well, you guys don't know it, but we have a lot of storms going through here tonight, and it hasn't interrupted it once. Not once. So
ran everybody off, Bill. Thanks.
Yay, Xfinity.
We've got a charter internet, and it's supposed to be half a gig, which is pretty good.
You're low, or John.
Am I?
Audio's low. Or you're not speaking up, one of the two.
No, I thought I was speaking normally. But is it Rich? You hear me good too, or
Now I hear you good.
oh, okay. So much for your Xfinity internet.
Well, John, you're not blasting my eardrums out, but
Oh.
you are audible.
Oh.
So it's sufficient unto the day.
What
Odd.
what internet did you say you had again, John?
Charter.
Oh,
cable.
Charter. Okay, yeah.
Okay, Windstream. Don't get it. Don't get anything else. Get anything else. Anything else at all. Don't get Windstream.
Oh, Dan, don't complain about Windstream. They give you a new piece of string for your tin cans every year.
Every 6 months because I wear out the old string. But they don't
But he
pull
has
it
to
tight
use the
enough.
same old rusty tin can, though.
Well, I have to
here's-
supply the tin cans myself. They supply the string.
Here's one from Carl. Hey Bill, what is a code 99 at Lowe's? I was in there today and heard that.
Unexpected sale.
Yeah, they wish. Code 99 means that somebody is up to something and that they need to follow them. Now, depending on,
Hey Carl, they were following you. That's what that means.
yeah, see that long, scruffy guy with the beard? Now, I think he's hiding something in that beard. Code 99.
He's got a sheet of plywood in that beard. We know it.
Or as Jerry Seinfeld would say, swarm, swarm. No, Code 99 was an alert to all the department heads to basically keep your eye out that somebody is acting suspiciously. Whether it be they're trying to do the 5-finger discount or whatever. Somebody is just acting suspiciously.
The big one they got
So
now
Code
is-
99 is
So,
for all
Carl,
the departments.
They noticed you were following that cute little redhead around, and they thought you were suspicious, and they didn't want to tell Donna because they knew you would get murdered. So it was the code 99.
which they got from the Get Smart television series, referring to Agent 99.
Missed it by
Yes, Chief.
I just used to, I didn't really like
brunette.
Oh,
I didn't like
there. Now
watching-
you're talking.
I didn't like watching the Get Smart show so much, but I loved to sit through that opening sequence where he went through the doors.
I didn't think you could even see brunettes, Carl. I thought they were invisible to your radar.
Carl, if you see a cute little brunette behind the lumber desk, don't mess with her. She's rough and tough.
And Bill wants her phone number. Or
No,
probably
I-
already has her phone number, but wants you to leave her
No,
alone.
no,
Hey.
no.
Hey, Lowe's is one of the few places on earth you can walk into the store and ask a woman to help you with your wood. And get away with it.
The other being Fredericks of Hollywood.
Not if I brought the right sheet of plywood. No, I don't. No.
Ba-dum-bum.
I have to find that myself because not even the guys know what it is I'm looking for. Now, if there was a woman that knew lumber the way that I know lumber, if you knew Susie the way that I knew Susie,
OSB.
but no, OSB is not what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Marine
Yeah,
grade
that's-
plywood, 3/4 inch,
Mhm.
4
Yeah,
by 8
you're
feet.
wanting to spend some money, aren't you?
I want something that ain't going to self-destruct in 30 seconds.
Oh, and OSB wood.
Mr. Phillips. OSB is not bad.
Well,
OSB's been treated.
oriented strand board is basically wood shavings that are glued together.
Oh, I
That's
thought you
all
meant
it is.
I thought you meant the wood. The
I'm not
make
talking.
this stuff last forever wood treatment.
Oh no, not treated plywood. Well, treated plywood is still plywood, but plywood is better
yeah.
than
Well, and
OSB.
the lumber is still too.
Yeah.
You said OSB, and my mind went straight to the bright
Not the
yellow
red green
treated
room.
stuff. No, the bright yellow green treated lumber that is waterproof for 40 years and guaranteed, and that's something else entirely, obviously. Um, duh.
You know, Carl has that
Rich,
beard
will
and
you
that.
breathe? Just
I'm
breathe.
trying.
Just breathe.
Carl,
We're not.
Carl ought to give up this idea
We're
of
not.
the
We're
green
not
room
actively
and start the
attempting to
red
kill
green
you.
room.
It's just accidental. Nick, thank you. And if you're such a smartass, get in the room.
He is actually in the hotel room because we were setting up for RegionCon today. And that's why
I
I'm going
don't.
to
I
be...
don't care where he's hiding. There are law enforcement agents out looking for him continuously, and have been since they identified him as a mythical creature walking around in the fog. There's been an APB, which is the All Point Heads Bulletin.
No, he had one of the other vendors wanted him to do drawings of her daughters. And
Hey, well, if you can show me something Nick can't draw,
Paint me like one of your
pay
French
you.
girls.
I will pay you money.
so
Seriously.
he drew a couple of things up from the pictures, and he just did black and whites, and she goes, "Oh, it'd be really kind of neat if that could be put onto wood."
And thus
Yeah,
enters Mr. Bachman.
right. It's like it's only the day before a con, you know. This board is not
Yeah.
quite as long as the other one, so we're gonna really have to stretch for the printer, or I'm gonna lose my headset.
Now,
How the hell did I print that?
Joe. This board, this wood is not as long as I thought it was. It's not one of those things I would think you were going to say, but
This cord, not wood, cord.
ruined a good joke, won't you?
The wood that I planned on doing these on, one of my boxes was severely cracked. So now I'm doing it on some live wood.
Now, just
What kind of wood do you use?
that was exactly what I was going to say. What is the preferential type of wood for your wood burning stuff? Because I'm sure there is something that works really well, and a lot of things that don't work worth a flip.
So most of the stuff I burn on is basswood.
Oh, okay. I
and
build
it's
stuff out of that. It's very lightweight.
Yep. So like even the pre-made boxes, like you saw me sanding earlier, these are basswood. Most of the coasters are all basswood. Yes, Rich. I'm gonna keep going. I want to see if I can turn your face blue. And then we have the natural wood here. Natural basswood with the bark
And this is one of the rare occasions where you can see that on screen.
Exactly.
Natural wood.
Bark and all. So I have
Welcome to Joe Bachman's OnlyFans, where he's showing off all his wood.
And you know, he has
Do you have any
57,000
Edwood?
subscribers already.
I have burned on pine before, which isn't bad. It smells very good.
I
trying
imagine
to burn,
so.
trying to burn through some of the knots, especially.
Yeah.
If it's a
Have you ever tried a redwood plank?
No, I have not.
That's sweet. It's very gentle. It's very forgiving. It's very lightweight
Mm-hmm.
because when it's dried out, it is amazing, and it's very durable for outdoor things like signs and stuff. It will age naturally.
Yeah, yeah, like a knot like this. If this was pine,
Oh yeah,
burning over the top of that, I'd have to clean off the tip of the burner every other pass at least.
yeah, really, because it'd be picking up a hell of a lot of resin,
Oh yeah,
rosin, whatever. It depends on whether you're a violin player or a woodworker.
but I generally don't have to worry about clear coating that area because so much resin comes up that it kind of clear coats itself.
Yeah, it's already varnished. It's already varnished. Yeah.
So, do you have any pieces of a finished product there that you can show us, Joe?
Not
Well,
currently
Bill,
because they're
you
all
have
in
obviously not been watching Joe's show, The Burning Is Love, which he does every week, and it's absolutely beautiful stuff. And I'm not just saying that because he plays my music as background while he's burning shit.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. I
Well-
appreciate artists for the quality of their work, not
Hey,
that they may choose to use me as a background thing to meditate to while they're doing it.
Oh
Hey.
crap! I need my spoon.
Well, I thought we had Nick Tockert here for a second, but
Well, we'd like to have Nick Tockert here for more than a second.
he was on his phone. He showed up for a second, and then just as I was getting ready to bring him in and introduce him, he disappeared.
Well,
Oh,
that's a
what?
cryptid for you.
You got a call on the red
Right,
phone.
there he
There
is.
he is.
There he goes.
You do it, Dan. There we go. Okay.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
Are you
There's
live or
one of my
Memorex?
favorite people in all the world. Who is
Buddy,
female.
I'm live.
Oh,
Hey,
you're
you.
right.
Hey, Xander.
He came to see what I was up to. I mean,
Yeah, well,
Hello, man.
Too late. He's an internet star. He's got to deal with it now. Hi.
Hey,
Hey,
sister.
Amanda.
hey.
yeah, so, we are ensconced safely, surprisingly near a large mall. Like, remarkably
Oh.
near. Yes.
Look into it.
It'll make grocery shopping very easy.
Yeah. I mean, go back, get hunkered back down, bud. Get
Yeah.
hunkered back down. Because you need to-
Please do convey our respects to your wife and your son. It's
Oh yeah, they're hearing everything. Unlike my usual, where I'm sequestered away in my.
Hang on a second. Hang on a
study.
second. Hey,
in the
everybody.
bat cave, yes.
His wife and kid are listening. We got to be on better behavior.
No.
Not the green room. Not the green room.
She said no, and she knows what you guys are about. Because we're literally leaving a gaming convention that Joe and I managed. The guy running the convention said, "Yeah, well, we're not set up yet because some people came wandering in for some reason. I don't know if they were vendors or what." It's like, "I am. Let's go. My table's up." Well, the convention doesn't still start till tomorrow.
Right.
My table is up. Come on.
If stuff's on the table, it's for sale.
Hey,
We're here to make money.
she's right. She's right.
I'm here to chew gum and make money, and I'm all out of bubble gum. But so yeah, we were.
Hey, cha-ching.
It's already been a good con.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a start, and we're treating it like a vacation. On the theory, we do the con, we enjoy it. Is it
You do the
worth
con, you
driving?
get paid.
Yep.
Well, you do the con, you sell stuff, you get paid. You left out one of the steps in between, but
Oh, okay. You meant contest and convention. I meant
Yeah. No. My problem is I've got
this
hackers.
is why I love my little brother so much.
Richie, I've got hackers aplenty and hitters galore. It's just, finding the right grifter is a little challenging. And most of the thieves I know are retired. So, it's hard to get business on an alternative revenue
or in
stream.
government.
But
You're going into crime, government or private sector.
crime. Well, no one. I have not been accused of anything, except apparently there's an all points bulletin out for a certain urban legend. Sandra, get back up on the bed, bud. You need to hunker down because you're doing that thing. So just get a bow hug. Hug your dudes. But yeah, how are you guys doing? Aside from arguing over marine plywood and the people who don't know how to work it.
Well, actually, I just wanted to say hi to Xander. I wanted to say hi to Amanda and to yourself, and just we will go on from that basis.
Oh, that's fine by
And
me.
I mean, it's so seldom that we get to interact with you as well as your family.
Well,
And
part
that's
of my
nice.
family's
That's
going for-
nice. It's a treat.
it's
It's a special treat.
It's a privilege to be here.
Hang
But,
on a second, everybody. Where are you at, Nick? Let's do a big promo for whatever this convention
Oh,
is.
I'm at Region Con, which is being held at St. Sava's Orthodox Church. They have a big banquet facility in Maryville, Indiana.
Maryville,
Hmm.
Indiana.
Yep, right off of Mississippi Street, which is right off of 65 and very, very easily accessed from 30.
Cool.
Okay.
And
Well,
Anyway, what kind of convention?
everybody in the area, get down there. I mean, what are you waiting on?
The
You
convention
want an
open.
invitation? Go to the con.
Hey,
It-
go down there and
there-
get Nick's autograph before he runs out of them.
Yeah, really?
there
Go all the
are. Yeah. We have. I do on-site art, so I do custom art on-site. I have a whole bunch of prints and buttons. Everything I've published through Amazon is available. Everything Amanda's published through Amazon, and my buddy Kivrin's book's out there too, because I did the cover for her work. And the Big Stompy Robots, all the terrain. I'll be running that game and having the tourney. We haven't figured out the time schedule yet, but we're going to work on that.
Nick, I wanted you to know, I just bought the ebook version of 3 of your books: The Simple Sword, Spear, and The Fighting Axe.
Oh, thank you. I hope you find them enjoyable.
I will.
If he can find them amongst all the other books he's got collapsed around behind him.
It's on my Fire tablet. It comes up right after the Heinlein stuff I'm working on right now, trying to get through. I mean, okay,
And the
Nick,
Simple Sword
Nick,
is a
take
great
this a
book. I have
compliment.
read it.
I'll get to your stuff when I get through the Heinlein stories.
Oh yeah, that's high. That's really nice company to be in.
Oh,
But
there's Dodger's
also-
book over here.
I understand that buying books and reading them are two completely different hobbies.
Yes, really. Collecting
completely
and
different
reading
addictions.
are different things.
Oh,
But
Both are fun.
with
Oh, yes.
with this Fire tablet, it goes with me to work. It's what I read when I'm totally bored at work and have free time.
Joey just burned himself.
Oh no.
And I never get to read when I'm home because I'm too busy trying to create my own stuff.
Exactly.
So work is my recreational period for reading.
I'm giving
You-
Dan
you-
grief about all his books because there's that old saying from Jeff Foxworthy: you can't talk about rednecks unless you are one, and I are one.
I are one. Uh-huh.
And
Can't
I
talk
used-
about writers unless you are one, and I are one. So
I used to keep paperback books
actually, I are three.
behind the seat of my pickup truck.
Mhm.
I call them truck books because I would always get places early and have to wait for them to open or wait for somebody to do shopping or something like that.
Yep.
And just sit in the truck and read my books.
Well, I had
When
card books.
when I was on the farm at Mom and Dad's, I did exactly that. I had a book in the pickup truck. I had a book in the dump truck. I had a book in the living room of the house. I had a book in the bedroom of my house. I had a book in the basement of the house. And it just depends on what room I was in at the time or what vehicle I was in at the time, which one I was able to finish first.
I got
And they were in
Now, who else was waiting
rotation.
for Dan to say, I have a book in the bathroom? Because he
I
never
did.
said that.
We did.
Yes, in a couple of places I lived, I did have bathroom books, but they were things like the biography of Led Zeppelin or the biography of George Harrison, things that I could read in short snippets and put a bookmark in and put it back on the shelf and come back for later on,
Strangely enough, I have
in between chili burritos or whatever.
A couple hundred books that goes with me everywhere. I was reading this yesterday when I went to do laundry.
Yeah, that's why I love the Kindle. I can carry an entire library with me everywhere I go.
And going back to that Seinfeldism, at least you didn't try to return that book and it getting flagged like George Costanza did.
What is this returning books of which you speak? This is a foreign concept to me. You buy one, you have it forever. You read it over and over and over and over and over and over.
I'm
Do you know
such
how
a
many
geek
times I've
because
read everything that Anne McCaffrey has ever written?
So, today was the anniversary of the very first detective story, Murders in the Rue Morgue by Edgar Allan Poe. And I posted a brief little synopsis
I've only read that 5 times.
about it in the Stupid O'Clock group. And when I was doing the research to print up the stuff to put in there, I came across a recent sale of a first printing from, I think they said 1847 or something like that. That was like $33,000 that this book sold for.
That's a spicy meatball.
They didn't keep that book forever.
That one's out of my
They
range.
made that book
but
part of
no.
their retirement.
But no, the thing is that
No. It's valid. They're just not at the convention. Stop talking about books and autographs and stuff. They are auctioning an early release of the 3rd edition of D&D from the I can't remember which event it was, but probably Gen Con 2010. And it's signed by the panelists of all the creators of 3rd edition D&D. So
that would be nice.
Yeah, that's getting auctioned. They always have a big auction at this con, and since they've added it, it does make the con significantly louder. But
I imagine so. Yes. Get out of my way! I want that. It's mine.
Oh, there are elbows thrown. Elbows have
Elbows? I would think there were, morning stars being thrown. Oh, that's one you haven't written a book about.
I need to do more concussive books. My problem is I have three.
Well,
Uh,
it's not everybody's cup of tea.
well, I see. My problem is right now. I am the guy who write. I'm almost as bad as Richie, in that I flip between projects. I will admit it freely. It's just the problem is I finish one of them in my rotation, and then I get it published, and then I go on to the next, getting rotated. So,
No, I don't have a problem with projects.
right. But I currently have three different nonfiction related to sword fighting books. It's just the closer I get to the more practical aspects, the survival side of things. This isn't defending yourself in a fun environment. This is things have gone hairy. How do you act?
Real world self-defense.
The more real world.
Hey, Nick, I have a sword question to ask you.
Sure.
How many times, now I'm talking about the real ones from back in the day, how many times was a samurai katana folded in the making of one?
Actually,
Ooh.
it was only. I'm trying. I think 6 is the absolute maximum, because people get folds and layers confused,
Yes.
and they forget that it's full. Every time it's folded, it
The
doubles
layers
So,
double. Yeah.
Now, is that just the blade part or the tang as well, or what are you talking about?
Normally, it's one piece. Normally, the tang is part of the blade. It's an extension.
Yeah, it
so
depends
that it
on the
doesn't snap
craftsman,
off.
but usually it's all one bit.
Okay.
Well, it's kind of because you have a softer steel on the back and a
Yes.
harder steel on the process. So, and I can't remember the names.
Don't worry,
That's
if they're in Japanese, we wouldn't understand them anyway.
Well, no, I can't remember the American names, and I know them. I just the English speaking names. But the problem people have this mythos. Oh, it's a Japanese sword. It's so the type of iron that you hear Tokugawa. I can't even pronounce it this late at night.
Tokugawa.
It's not Tokugawa. It's
Oh,
I grabbed
okay.
the wrong word. Because I actually studied Japanese for quite
Sorry,
some time.
that's the only one I know.
Right. But the problem with it is it translates essentially to pig iron. The iron that was there was it's absolute crud, full of impurities. It's very, very bad metal.
Yes.
And so they had to do the folding that much to get a pure enough metal
to get the impurities out. Yeah. Had to heat it and beat it and just get the crap out of the metal till
I think about
decent.
Bob Ross just beat the devil out of the brush. You know what I'm saying? But the problem was
exactly. Yeah.
The cooling gave a very hard and brittle surface. Yes, Bob Ross, and a soft back.
Sorry.
So they would chip, and it was they're very inflexible. So a lot of the styles weren't just to be effective, to make the katana do what they wanted, but to adjust your strikes where you'd be less likely to break it. So because you could break them over bones if hit out of proper alignment.
Yes.
So that's why so many of the katana strikes are much more draw cuts, where they hit and slash and dig in, rather than a true blow like you would get from, say, most saber strikes. Certainly, any straight sword strike, the vast majority,
or like an axe strike,
or an axe strike. Absolutely,
yeah,
that's brute force.
Axe. Yeah.
But the katanas were and are sharp enough to do, the whole severing, but it's much easier if you can target a joint. And
Mhm.
what a katana is a messer or a bastard sword with an incredible PR campaign. And while
A
I'm
nice
torn,
balance, really nice balance, I would
really,
say.
I mean, really, minimalist guards and a great PR campaign. They're very sharp, but they had certain flaws. I will always favor a spring steel over what they use in katanas because you have much more resilience. A lot of the Chinese blades actually had a lot more resilience
Yeah.
for prolonged use. There's more versatility to it. But
Now, one thing I don't mention very often is my great grandfather was a blacksmith in East Tennessee.
oh, that's great. My grandfather was a blacksmith in Dodge City, Kansas,
Oh wow!
in the 1920s.
Think of how many horses managed to make it across because your granddad was good at what he did.
Yeah, he was a little, very sharp, very ornery man, and he was very upset because he the time of his birth put him through the interwar period, so he was too young for World War One and too old for World War Two.
Uh-huh.
But he went and did the Liberty ships for World War Two. He got in
Okay.
shipyards working on those, and fortunately, the mesothelioma, which I know I spoke, but
Mesothelioma. Yes.
From all the asbestos is actually what killed my
Yep.
namesake, Nicholas Anthony Talker, the first. So I never got to meet the man because he died earlier than he should
Oh,
have because of that. But
that's entirely too much of a shame because you would have been able to learn so
oh
much
yes,
more.
and that's where my love for metalworking kind of comes from. And when I
Yeah, I
can,
can
because I've
understand.
done some limited knife making and limited blacksmithing. I've studied it quite a bit. If I can get in a
Oh,
situation where my hands will allow me to, I'd love to renew it.
I don't know when John joined us, but good evening, John
Hi, John
Pica.
Piker. I
I'm
say
sorry
John
we
Piker because
we
to
were
be honest.
having such an interesting discussion. I forgot to look at the comments. Okay. Um,
Oh, it
So,
yes,
Nick,
sir.
would a straight sword, like maybe a Ninjato,
Okay.
that's a lot heavier and, well, it's shorter for one. It's what, like 60 centimeters long, something like that. It's
Well, see,
I
okay,
think it's like similar to Shikomizu
yeah.
or something of that nature. Would that be more accurate than a samurai katana in a battle as far as decimating somebody's
define
joints or
we
It's
have
not the
to,
blade.
define
It's
accurate in
well,
this context.
we have to step back on a few things.
okay.
First off, Rich makes a great point, and it's essentially it's not the wrench, it's the mechanic. It's something I say to a lot of people about swordsmanship. Secondly,
the tools to tech.
because of the
Somebody
great
that knows
samurai
what they're
movies,
doing can use a crowbar and to great effect. Somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, it doesn't matter if they got a chainsaw, they're not going to be able to do anything.
exactly. But
Jackie
remember,
Chan is a perfect example of that. In many of his movies, he uses everything as weapons.
right. But when we talk about the Japanese, the samurai, and the katana, especially, remember the katana is, for the vast majority of them, a sidearm. So you need to mentally put the katana in the position of a Glock or a SIG in a modern battlefield.
So
The primary weapon
a
of the
tanto is
samurai.
something you cook with.
Well, there's also there's a whole lot of weapons that were either cooking implements or agricultural tools that were more weaponized as a workaround from their version of alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. You know, oh, you can't
Okay.
have this, so we do this. So it was that's where you get a lot of that, and a lot of it was peasants using what they had. And when you have one item and you have time and you have physical strength, especially if somebody who knows how to use more traditional weapons, you can sit and figure out how to better weaponize. That's why there are sickle manuals. You know, nothing, buddy. But the
Really, in the right hands, a chair, a ladder, a
but
stick, a
absolutely,
rock.
that may be the subject of one of the three
Serious.
books I have floating. But to get back to Bill's question before I lose the track, because it's so much fun,
Yes.
you if you're going to fight in a battlefield, a melee battlefield, anywhere in that era, there are three primary weapons you're going to find. You're going to find the Yari, which is a long spear. You may find a Naginata, which is a curve-headed spear. It's kind of like a glaive. Your bow is going to be your primary weapon because you'd far
Yes,
rather
because it is a
shoot
distance
you.
weapon.
So it really goes, you know, the bow is your rifle. Okay.
Yeah, archery is the pre firearms version of a rifle. Yes.
And we're going to get there too because I said there are three main things. Because you have the Yari, the bow, and the gun. Remember, they had breech loading firearms.
Yeah,
Also,
like
remember
a flintlock.
Well,
and
it
they
wouldn't
were
matter
they
if it was flintlock or breech lock or whatever
they had early matchlock. They had
matchlock. Thank you. That
flintlock.
was the word I was looking for.
And remember that people get confused. The samurai era, the Meiji revolution happened shortly before the Civil War. There were active samurai during the time Abraham Lincoln was president. We are not taught parallel timelines.
No, we are not.
Um,
There was
Yeah,
something.
remember the movie
There was
Dances with
something that
Samurai.
There was something that I was pointed out. A samurai could have sent a fax to President Lincoln during the Civil War.
And to make it more interesting, that samurai could have been friends with an elderly pirate from the golden age of piracy.
Exactly. Yes.
So we have this idea that time is so wide because there's so much of it to study. When you realize, people get lost in the fact because we get caught up in major breaks.
The most interesting eras of time,
yes,
are very narrow swaths.
Oh yes,
where huge amounts of change took place. The 1800s. I mean, the Industrial Revolution started, and there were huge, actually, mechanical, social, and production-wise differences between the 1700s, the 1800s, and the 1900s. But the 1800s were like rocket fuel. Everything was happening at once, all over the world. Not just England, not just Europe, but everywhere.
Be careful talking about England and progress. You'll get Glenn B. Fleming rising from wherever he is and spinning towards a computer to sing loudly "Rule Britannia," but
Yeah, and I will promptly kick him in the nuts. I mean, seriously, my wife is English. She knows this. I know this. Seriously, this is not woo woo stuff, Glenn. Um,
it's so fun to stir the pot.
this is actual history, not.
But wow, I'm trying to hold the thread of the situation. But to go back to what you said, the reason Ninjato were popular
Thank you, Carl.
was that they were straight, so they were easily concealed in things.
Yeah,
remember-
that too, but also the length of it made it a very adversarial against samurai katana, because if you could get yourself in,
Well, see, here's the problem with it. I get where you're going.
you have a limited reach. You could reach farther with a katana to keep the person away from you, but if the person got in there to you, then the katana is.
There are two things.
I'm not saying rendering itself null and void, but it is much less useful.
Almost twice as much reach as Nick. Reach doesn't mean a damn thing to the person with the right skill.
Blade length is not.
It makes
that's one of Nick's first lessons that he
effective
teaches.
range of someone who knows what they're doing.
Now
that's what I'm saying, because actually, if you get longer the
Nick
blade,
could take something
the more
that is
cumbersome it
18
would
inches
be.
long
Yeah,
and
No,
defeat me
I
with
agree
something
with
that is
Glenn's
5
point.
feet long
The
easily.
The
Because
problem with
I have no experience, he has experience.
the problem in this case is a matter not of length but geometry. And see, the katana, when trained properly, remember, it is a curved sword. Now, the curve may be affected by the thing, but the draw of a katana or any curved sword is naturally faster than a straight sword due to the geometry of the way your arm moves. If you think about it, it's much easier to move in an arc. Just put your hands together by your knees and just swing out. You naturally go in an arc. So the katana mirrors the quick draw art of the Wild West. So the vast majority
That's a good
of
point.
katana
That's a
fights,
very good point.
if you look at Aijitsu, Kenjutsu compared to Aido, were about getting the katana out faster. And there is a catch with pulling a straight sword like a ninjato. The problem with ninjatos are they were easier to hide, so it would come out of a place you wouldn't expect. So it would be sheathed in a broom, and it looked like they're sweeping to disguise the attack.
Some people call that a prison pocket.
It's
What
literally
was it?
an
What was the old
assassin's weapon.
story? What was the old story about a ninja? Well, not a ninja, a samurai who
Yes.
went up against a farmer who knew he was going to die, but he knew he had to do what he had to do. And the samurai recognized the fact that the farmer was willing to die to do what needed to be done. And the samurai goes, I'll be back in 2 weeks. See ya. Or
Yeah.
something like that.
Well, one thing you got to remember, the people who became ninjas, which basically they were defending their own, they were farmers and they were hill people. And then during the feudal times, that's, they were being invaded by rogue samurais, and I do use parentheses on that. and they were trying to defend their own. Now, in the same breath,
That's a little
there are
spicy.
those others that are less than reputable who were the assassins that were
Okay.
hired out by others.
You
That's
are
that's that's
there's a lot of
sideways to the point I was trying to make,
a
Bill.
lot of myth
It
and
it
history
was
are being sliced here as facts. So we really have to parse a lot of that.
yeah.
The evolution of the ninja happened, but the reason they trained in agricultural weapons wasn't like Okinawa, where they were and literally an oppressed, occupied people who were genetically different enough that remember there was a whole
This is true. This is true.
ethnicity that was wiped out
Japan
in
has
Japan.
had a lot of things about people who are not of us,
Right. Xenophobia in
through
historic
appearance sake.
Japan.
Uh,
Gaijin, yeah.
the oh Lord, Nick, help me out here. What was the name of the previous indigenous people that they did
Yeah,
not like
I'm
because they
trying
were
to remember
hairy?
their name. That's exactly who I was trying to talk about, but I can't
Ah,
pull their name out. But
no, neither can I.
they
Neither
were
can I.
they were they were
They
stocky.
were previously native, but they kind of got marginalized, sort of like um, if you'd gone back to prehistory, where the Cro-Magnons got moved out by the Homo sapiens.
Neanderthals.
But
Yeah.
well, uh, oh yeah, well Neanderthals, and then
Yeah. No, I mean
um,
I know what you're talking about. We're on
I'm
the same page.
probably expressing it very, very
Well,
badly because at the
you're trying
moment
to
I'm
pull,
shit faced and I don't care.
We
but to get
we went from samurai to Neanderthals.
we
Yeah,
can't.
oh,
Well, what we're was talking about is genetic. Frankly, the horrible term genetic cleansing has been around that long.
well,
You have
and
to remember
it has been undertaken that long.
when I was looking up the spear, I was studying the spear for the simple
250
spear,
million
and
years we've been.
the spear predates humanity. The spear
Yes,
as an active
yes.
weapon, literally, it has at least a 500,000 year history. And that's with spears with heads.
I would argue that the Atlatl does as well, but not quite as
Yes,
far. But
it's almost as long, and they're wonderful things to know how to use. But getting
yeah,
back
but
to
they're
the
difficult
reason,
things to learn how to use. Um,
um,
it's like a sling.
yes,
You can't just take a strip of leather and put a little pocket in the middle and throw a rock and kill the biblical giant. You've got to learn how to aim the darn thing, and you got to practice.
well, and that's everything. We are so caught up by the extra effort we have to put into the complexities of life. We don't understand that there was more time during simpler periods to do things like that because we weren't distracted with so much. But all the way back to our conversation, ninja trained with real ninja, historical ninja, trained with agricultural weapons because they were part of their disguise. Very, they almost never wore the black jumpsuits that were imagined.
Oh no,
They set
no.
up a huge amount of their own PR campaign. They did a little bit deliberately as theater later on once they were established to scare people into thinking that they had magic powers. But ninjas, dressed like the people who were supposed to be wherever their target was. So actual active assassin ninja, ninja assassins would build a whole persona in the community they were operating where they would become known as, well, that's Jin the farmer, and he'd go out and farm every day till he was comfortable enough, and when the target came close, he would have maybe he'd kill him with the rake because they've developed a way to use it, or they modify, you know, a psi or a comma, and how to use that, because that would be the weapon they could have on hand that wouldn't garner suspicion until it was too late. Like I said, a ninjato was effective for a few reasons, and it was a very high end thing because the sheath was reinforced and pointed so they could hammer the sheath into the side of like a stone or masonry wall to get a step to get higher up.
Well, that's why it had the square guard too, because that was literally their step.
Well, yeah. The square guard gets a little different, but there were a lot of things, and that's where it goes into the alleged. It could be used this way at the high end. A lot of times, a square guard versus a round guard is simply because if you set it down, it can't roll away. Because with a curved sword, like a katana, you can have a round guard, and if you have to set it on the ground, it's going to roll and flop, but it's not going to roll real easy. If you have a straight sword and you have a round guard on a straight sword, it's going to wheel its way around all over the place.
It's going to roll real easily. Yeah.
Drop it. But they were. The other thing you got to remember is on the short range thing, professional samurai wore 2 swords and carried at least 3 edged weapons, being the katana, the wakizashi, and the tanto dagger. Which when you see the set, and just like medieval Renaissance fencers who carried a dagger on the same side as their rapier, if the threat was in close, they didn't mess with pulling the sword. They would pull the
shorter blade,
being either a parry dagger or a wakizashi. And the wakizashi is a lot faster on the draw than a ninjato. That's why if you look at one thing you can tell about a weapon, you want to look at the use period of a weapon. So you want to look at how wide that timeline is that it was active. And the katana is still in use today. It was used in the military. I'm trying to remember if it got phased out or not in the Japanese military. I know it has ceremonial use. But
there was ceremonial katanas that, like, now I'm talking WW2 era. That were never meant for battle.
Those weren't ceremonial at all. Those were as military as a
no.
to us.
None of those were not meant for battle. They were.
The ones I'm thinking of, and Nick, correct me on this, but the ones that are meant for battle, or put it this way, the ones that were not meant for battle but were meant to be given to somebody as an award, maybe in the military, and that the curved edge was the opposite of the straight edge would normally be.
No,
it's a fine line. That was a fine line.
The reverse edge katana was a very rare thing. And again, it only appeared to the best of my knowledge, as a workaround for the prohibition of swords. I want to say during the Meiji era. But by then, you have to realize what we would consider modern firearms were also regularly in use.
Yes.
No, I'm not talking about the whole blade being curved.
We had another bling here.
I'm just talking I'm talking the edges.
Oh, and Zach has
an
joined
edge being
us.
straight to the edge.
Yes.
Hello,
Zach.
I would. That is nothing in all my sword study. I have never heard of anything like that. I can look into it. This really feels offhand mythological, because I know
I would definitely say there is a certain mythology involved, There might be some fact behind it, but
But-
it's very, very definitely mythological.
Well, we learned it in
And-
high school, so it came from a textbook.
Well,
Hey,
This is back in the
American
70s. So,
textbook
an
mythology,
American
not much
textbook
damn
from the
difference.
70s probably had
Yeah.
some interesting things. And like I said, it's a little later than my usual target period. And it may be a very narrow case. But like I say, it's something I have not in any of my studies seen. So it's when I don't want to say I don't want to say you're wrong or I'm wrong. I'm going to say it would be a very obscure, very narrow kind of period because weird things happen, and especially when people in the history of weapons, you see strange things happen when there are regulations, and much of Japanese culture is very regulation. It's beyond regulation warranted. It's almost a worship.
Tradition is way stiffer than regulation.
Right, and that's actually playing
It's not even
against a
written.
katana.
It just happens.
And you have to understand that a katana for certain cultures is literally still a sacred, a religious, spiritual item.
Like the short blade the Sikh warriors carry.
Yes,
I can't remember the name of it. Nick, you probably
it's not
do.
a talwar. But yes, I have to be careful to keep my volume down because I'm in a hotel.
Oh,
But the
all right.
but
We
to go back to it, there's no sorcery to a katana. Yes, sir.
oh, shut up, John. Zach, thank you for joining us. Please tell us everything you know
Okay.
about
There you go. Okay.
the launch today.
what went wrong,
And-
Zach?
Okay.
What went wrong?
It was a day.
No. Lots of things went right.
Yeah,
A couple of things went wrong. Zach, tell
One big
us
thing.
what
the world's largest
happened.
rocket went boom. So that was
Well,
fun.
yeah, but it actually got off the freaking ground.
Barely,
And
but yes.
wait, it got to
39
what is-
kilometers.
well, it got past
And it
the
exploded because I didn't get to. I was doing the
No,
convention, so I didn't get to track.
Well, they ordered it to explode. They terminated
they
the
ordered it to explode. I knew
There
that
you
when
go.
I saw it.
That's a
It's
new
like
Well, only after it
Elon
tumbled,
says this is embarrassing enough. Boom.
well, only after it tumbled twice did they tell it to explode. Like 2 head over heel tumbles of a 40-story building. Then they told it to explode.
I
Yes,
call
but
that
it
a
still
reasonable
tumbled
choice to
head
make.
over heels for about 75 different times before it actually exploded,
So
according to the footage that I saw, which was probably repeated over and over and over and over again.
first question for Zach. You're okay.
Well,
Why-
of course he's okay. He's here.
Well, it was we had a scare,
Yes.
to be totally honest. About
Oh, come on.
about 10 minutes in after the launch, we started having concrete shavings and sand fall 6 miles away from the
Ooh.
pad.
They were 6 miles away from the launch pad, and bits and chunks of it were raining down
Yeah.
over South Texas and North
the-
Mexico.
The first bits of it were actually liquid. So when we started having
Welcome to Alamogordo. I mean, seriously.
when we started having black water drops, we very quickly yelled, "Get in the house!" And then it lasted about a minute. Turns out most of it is concrete and sand. But there have been heat tiles found on the beach of South Padre, which is 6 miles from the pad.
And
the
they are
rocket-
going for $1,000 a piece as collector.
Did you
collector's
get a heat
item.
towel?
No, I wish. No, and technically you're not allowed to keep it because it's part of a federal investigation, and you're supposed to turn it in.
They've got all the excuses to keep you from making any money off this disaster.
You're not supposed
This is just
to.
a bathroom tile.
They
I
didn't
found.
say you
I don't know what
can't.
you're
It's
talking
not
about.
supposed to. When do the rules ever matter?
But when it's a 40-story tall rocket, hopefully. But no, it was awesome. It was quite the morning. It cleared the pad and tower barely. We definitely were holding our breath because it did not launch as fast as it was supposed to. It hung out for a little bit longer on the pad. It was. We're glad we're alive, and we're glad we didn't have to duck and cover. So.
How many rockets? You did duck and cover. I watched you do it. Okay.
Oh, I ducked and covered into the house.
Well,
but that's when I thought we were getting acid rain poured on us, not a shock wave equal to a nuclear blast.
Okay. Let's see. Were there
Acid
any
rain.
injuries from this that we know? Because
not that we've heard of yet. And there shouldn't be based on the volume that we heard. Having attended Artemis and then this one, it was much deeper of a thud in your chest, but volume-wise, Artemis was far louder. Artemis was loud for a very short amount of time. Like it was less than 90 seconds you heard it. This one, about 20 seconds after we saw it ignite, we started to hear it. We didn't hear them exploded out of the sky until about 10 minutes after they did it. So we heard a rumble for about 15 minutes, even though the flight was only 4.
Because they showed that one van that had the camera mounted on top of it. I believe it was Lab Padre's van.
That was like 1,000 feet from the pad. Yeah, that was in the parking lot.
Yeah, it caught a sizable chunk of concrete. I'd say they're looking at about $6,000 worth of body damage right there.
Yeah, they said NSF has said they've lost 5,000 in cameras. I think they need to add a 0 in total for their car and gear. They'll find out. The road's still closed. They said the earliest they'll open it's tomorrow morning, but they said that might get delayed as well because they're still trying to make sure that it's safe. There's a crater that, based on helicopter shots, people are estimating is 10 to 15 feet deep below the pad. And underground structure of the pad is exposed. And the concern is now that the orbital launch mount and or the tower, because it's built on sand, may have actually shifted. Which means if it's shifted like 0.25 of a degree, they're gonna have to rebuild it. Because they can't stack a rocket with a chopsticks if it's tilted. Yay.
And that concrete ring the rocket was sitting on, it don't look good at all. Is that thing supposed to be like that?
You should have put a ring on it.
Yeah.
Is there a class action lawsuit yet? That's what we want to know.
Well, Windows didn't break, so no.
Okay.
Yeah, next time. It was close. We were ready to hit the ground when it launched because they ignited the engines. It sat for 8 seconds, which is what it's supposed to do to ignite all 33, and 3 of them failed. Well, the booster can't make it to orbit if it loses 3 engines. It can only lose 2. So before it even left the pad, it wasn't going to make it. And then 3 more failed during flight, and then they lost their hydraulic unit also during flight. And then they got through Max Q, which was one of the biggest tests. So we now know Starship won't fall apart at aerodynamic pressures. But they went to do, basically to separate the ship from the booster, they kick the booster up, and then the ship's going to pull away. They told the booster to kick, and the ship didn't separate. So the booster kicked, and everything just went with it. And it just started spinning. So...
I think I counted 7 engines that were out on Super Heavy.
So the weird thing is they were hot firing. So some of the engines that didn't ignite on the pad were spewing out propellant and ignited in air. And then other ones shut off and then fired and shut off and fired. And so depending when you watched it, the engines were hot firing, which is really bad. They're not designed to do that. So we'll see. Elon publicly seems happy. From people I've talked to in mission control, not so much. But across the board, that it cleared the pad. That was their. Literally, they've said publicly their hope was to clear the tower, and they did that. So anything after that's a bonus. So we'll get
Can
to do
they
it all.
try with something smaller until they get a lot of this stuff ironed out? I mean, I know eventually they want to put people on this and send them to the big round piece of cheese in the sky and beyond and what have you. But I mean, man,
Well, they've tested, Bill, they've tested smaller.
Elon's
This-
lunar
now they're
cheese
testing
mining
bigger,
operation is
that's-
just what Bill's been putting all his stock in for the last few years. He wants, the Wensleydale from.
I'm losing my butt on it, man. I'm telling you.
Well, quit
See, I
buying
don't know,
stock in
Wallace
it. There ain't nothing smaller. They're trying to go with what they got.
They've
to work
already done
with.
smaller. They did Starhopper.
And-
Of course, they've been doing Falcon.
How about an
It's-
Estes model rocket? I might still have one.
Well, they
that
sell
I
one
can-
if you like one. SpaceX.com. It's like
Yeah.
$400.
What we just need to do is
I'm-
launch
I'm-
the rocket
I
from one of
am
those Chinese spy
Actually
balloons.
impressed they managed to get as much of the flight profile done, finished, crossed off, ready to research as they did, even though it went boom ultimately.
Yeah, it was a successful failure, and it was expected.
Joe Bachman, stop doing that. That's almost pornographic.
It's not the red green.
And I think Carl looks a lot like Red Green. I think he could start a Red Green room, really.
Just because I'm screwing my wood on camera.
Oh, boy.
I am so not touching that line.
Do you,
Oh,
how
guys,
many?
I gotta get things quiet
Even
before
on
my back
Friday, I
sleeps,
will
so-
not touch that line.
How many
Sam or Nick?
cameras do they still
Nick,
have?
Nick, you said you got to go,
Yeah.
and Nick went.
Yeah.
So
Hey Zach,
You got to go. You got to go.
How many cameras
Hey.
did we lose today?
cameras.
Media cameras or
Yeah,
SpaceX
well,
cameras?
I mean, 'cause the first thing I said when y'all ran inside said we got to go, and y'all disappeared. First thing I said is, "Oh my God, he just bought that new camera lens and left it out there in the acid rain." Okay,
Surprisingly, we have not lost a piece of equipment this trip.
now
So we're
Lab
very
Padre-
thankful for that.
how many of the Lab Padre cameras are down?
Oh, there's a reason I didn't.
38,000.
There's a
Um,
reason I did not put a remote camera out. That was a decision made by me, but also with insights of engineers on the ship. I had an option of putting a camera closer to the rocket than it is tall.
Excuse
No.
me.
Yeah, I had an option to
Closer
put a
to the
camera.
rocket than it is tall.
Yes. Yeah, I had an option to put one there yesterday. Well, this
I
morning.
believe that's referred to as blast radius.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that is the technical term for that is
Stupid.
this is gonna be a gone camera.
Yeah. So this was
Disposable
yesterday.
is not one of the things that are in your budget.
This is basically where we not the same side. We would have put it on the other side, but that's how close the camera would have been to the rocket at ignition. Why I was allowed to legally stand there 12 hours to launch, I don't know. But yeah, it's it was close.
I'm glad you didn't put it there.
Me too. I was not
Yeah,
sacrificing
really?
$1,000.
Yeah,
Because you'd have to be
that
buying a
was
new
good
one.
judgment on your part.
Now we have some ideas for
Ah.
future ones because there are explosive camera systems that we've looked into. Now that we have an idea to get to, but we'll see.
I got to design a camera system one time for a demolition range.
You
And
put
they
it
wanted the
on a mortar shell
No, they were going to be
because you
blowing
wanted
stuff.
to see whose ass you was going to blow up.
No, we were doing shape charges and cratering charges, and they're
Oh,
big.
okay. Yeah.
Well, this was a cratering charge that
That
flew.
was yeah. Well, actually, it was kind of a shape charge because it was all going down at first, and then it was a cratering charge. So that's, but they work together. That's
Yeah.
But,
Well, I don't want to be on the plane because a videos come out. Someone was on a 737.
I'm not watching that porn. No.
Someone was on a 737 that flew by at basically the same altitude as the rocket when it started to tumble, looking out their window, and they see the rocket tumble once.
Did they get video?
And explode, and it is videoed. It just started going around. I'll try to find it. It's on social media.
It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Did it tumble vertically or horizontally?
Head over heels.
Okay. It was very hard to tell from the footage that I saw.
Yeah, they were shooting from a weird angle that definitely did not help see the ground.
I knew that it was not straightening out to release the second stage, and I could see in the footage that stabilizers were firing, and they weren't doing anything.
Well, and
They were trying, but
yeah,
it was tumbling too hard.
Somebody
And then
has images from the engineering cameras, which are not supposed to be public. And there's some pictures from right before the FTS was ignited that it does look like booster separation occurred, but it looks like it occurred because it ripped the inner stage in pieces, tore itself apart. So
nobody wants to
as
see
they
that. No, that's not going to be good for publicity. Did Elon push the button finally, or
the first
did
reports were that it
somebody
was
else take responsibility?
The first reports were that it was totally automated and that they did not have control of the FTS. A couple hours later, SpaceX put out a statement saying they blew it up, but they didn't say who. I would not want to be that person.
Okay, Elon pushed the button.
Probably.
This is getting embarrassing. Click.
Hey, we got to have a big cloud on 420. I mean,
yeah, it's 420.
Up in smoke.
Yeah. I'm fried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure most of the SpaceX.
I'm quoting Elon. I mean, seriously, I'm not fried.
Zach, I know we don't have a whole lot of time left here, and this may not be the right question to ask because
we've got 8 minutes.
Yeah. So if you can give the Reader's Digest version, what did Elon Musk plan on that he wanted this launch to do as opposed to what it did?
It did more than he wanted. He held a Twitter space call with media on Sunday night before the first attempt, and that was the first time he really was trying to set expectations properly for media. Unfortunately, major media never listens to those type of things because they don't want to pay him $5 for his Twitter. But he said, if this gets 5 feet off the pad, this is a win. If this clears the tower, it's a cherry on top of the sundae. If it gets further than that, we're shocked. They did not think it would get that far. So the fact that we got through 4 minutes and like 6 seconds in flight, they're extremely overjoyed. It's way further than they ever got with Falcon 1 during its first flights. It's further than N1 ever got on its flights for the Russians. So
hey,
they're taking it.
This is some very valuable data, actually.
Absolutely.
I mean, seriously, even though it went tail over tea kettle and couldn't separate, it cleared the tower. It went to max Q. It went beyond max Q. And then stuff didn't work correctly.
Yeah. And that's where we see most rockets fail on their first flight is booster shutdown, stage separation, second stage ignition. That 10-second period, I'm pretty sure every rocket in history on its first or second flight failed at that point. Like, whenever it got to that point for the first time, it would fail there. It's just statistics that it
Most
does.
of them never reached that point.
Atlas had
believe
the
me.
same problems. Titan 2 had the same problems.
I'm
Saturn
65 years old. Believe me, I have seen a lot of stuff blow up before they ever cleared the pad.
Yeah. Well, I'm just glad it cleared the pad and got downrange. I like that I could hear.
Yeah, that's very nice, and it's okay. The people that are into recycling will be able to collect aluminum off the ocean for decades.
stainless steel.
Stainless steel.
Stainless steel. Okay, if they get a magnet,
Well-
they can collect recycling for decades.
We'll be seeing somebody on a future episode of Pawn Stars bringing in a piece of it to show Chumley, you know.
And he'll say, "No, this ain't real. This ain't real.
Okay,
It's got the
what do you
wrong
want to do with
magnetic
this? Are you wanting to pawn it, or
Well, I had offers of hundreds of dollars for me to sweep a little bit of the dust that fell on us today and mail it.
I wish I could have told you sooner. Y'all need to collect that and keep a sample just for yourselves in case it turns out to be some big, cancer-causing mesothelioma kind
Well,
of
the fact that my
Well,
throat
no,
back
no,
to my tongue
no.
that's fun.
Just because it might turn out to be historical. That's the reason
Yeah,
to collect
it
it.
was sand.
Yeah, well, it's sand, it's concrete, it's burned hydrogen.
There is a material that I cannot remember the name of.
Styrofoam.
No, Trinitite or something like that.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
And
I
it's
know
the
that stuff.
It's the radioactive glass that used to be sand at the Trinity test site.
Yes. Yes.
And people all over the world have got the stuff, but they basically told everybody don't pick it up anymore. It's part of the.
It's freaking radioactive. Don't touch it. Put it behind lead glass. No. Okay. Well, your descendants will be glad that you have this.
it's like playing with mercury from a thermometer. We all did it. We all busted a thermometer to play with the mercury.
I have never played with
radium,
radioactivity, Bill.
Tritium.
Well, no, I have played with radioactivity, but I was in Oak Ridge, so it was safe. And
Guys,
I have been in New Mexico and actually touched a piece of the Fat Boy steel casing for the first atomic bomb. Or whatever they were calling it then. I'm sorry. Yes.
Guys,
it's
time.
time.
That time. Yep. It's that bat time.
Yep.
Zach, thanks for showing up tonight and telling us about the rocket launch. Make sure you're writing all this down somewhere for your memoirs.
Glad you're safe.
Zach,
And
if
for the people who
if you want to be in Last Man Standing, please do join us because I'm not committed to being.
We promise we won't blow up any rockets.
If you don't follow Zach on the
I'll blow
Launchpad
up a rocket
Network,
just for you.
follow him. It is a great channel.
I'm waiting for the tank farm to explode since it's got huge dents in it. So,
did you see any damage at the tank farm other than?
Oh, it's got dents. It's got wedges in it. So, but you got.
Yep.
It gave the tank farm a wedgie.
me see. I want to thank Nick Talker for showing up, and Ryan.
39 seconds.
I know how it works. It's kind of like a clock on the video. And I want to thank the regular crew for showing up, and just everybody. So now's the time we say goodbye. Go to Last Man
all
Standing
of our company.
and see Dan's show. Good night, everybody.
Good night,
Good
everybody.
night,
Bye,
everybody.
Diaz.
And thank you.
I have slept the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and done 100 things you have not dreamed of. Wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up, up the long, delirious, burning blue, I've topped the windswept heights with easy grace, when never lark nor even eagle flew. And while with silent, lifting mind, I've trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand and touched the face of God.